11.6, adding and subtracting rational expressions, is probably one of the more difficult things we're going to tackle this year. Okay, with that said, remember that rational expressions just mean fractions. And here's why this is difficult. Because when you add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So that's where the difficulty comes in. So in order to figure out what your common denominator is, you're going to factor all your numerators and all your denominators if possible. Find a common denominator, and that's where it gets tricky. If you have a bunch of different terms in your denominators, you have to have one of every factor that occurs. You might need more than one. But then you got to rewrite all your fractions. Okay, so factor everything. Find a common denominator, rewrite all your fractions, meaning you have to change the numerators too. And then you add or subtract like terms in the numerators. Be careful with subtraction. Okay, and that's going to happen in the last example here. And then just write your answer as one fraction over the common denominator. Now, in the first example, we're starting you off nice. These already have a common denominator. So, remember when adding or subtracting fractions, you keep the denominator, and you just do whatever the top says. So 8 minus 5 is 3, and you're done. Okay, now the second one, we're going to step it up a little bit. But you might want to pause that, because I'm going to have to scroll a little bit to give myself more room. So if you need to write any of that down, make sure you pause. Okay, so in the second one here, I have two denominators. I have a 3t and a 2t. I can't factor anything. They both have a t, so that's in common, but then they have a 3 and a 2. Well, what do 3 and 2 both go into? 6. So I'm going to rewrite my fractions using 6, but then they both have a t, so I need to keep a t in the denominator. Now, 3t, I had to multiply by 2 to get 6t, so whatever I did to the bottom, I do to the top. 7 times 2 is 14. Do not forget to change your numerators. What did I do to the 2t to get 6t? I multiplied by 3, so do the same to the top. 8 times 3 is 24. Now, don't reduce your fractions, because then you're right back to where you started. So my answer is going to go over 6t, and I just combine the tops. 14 plus 24 makes 38 over 6t. Now that does reduce, so I'm going to divide both by 2, and I get 19 over 3t. Okay? Alright, now here comes the big guy. So get ready. Alright, in the first fraction I can't factor anything. I just have a y minus 2. But in the second fraction I can factor the denominator. It's going to be y minus 2 and y minus 2. Now, since this second fraction needed 2 of these y minus 2's, my common denominator is also going to need 2 of them. So now I have to rewrite my fractions. Now the second fraction I didn't do anything to. But I am going to put him in parentheses because of the subtraction. The first fraction I only had one of the y minus 2's. I put another one in. So again, whatever you put in the bottom, you need to put into the top. So I'm going to distribute there and get 4y minus 8. Okay, now I put this in parentheses because everybody who goes after the minus sign is getting subtracted. And that's where people tend to mess up. So if you want to bump this subtraction up, I might recommend you do that. I'm just going to write this as y minus 2 squared. It's less work. So I'm going to bump that negative up. I'm going to make it negative 5y minus 6. Okay. Now I can combine my like terms in the top. 4y and negative 5y leaves me with a negative y. Negative 8 and negative 6 gives me negative 14 over y minus 2 squared. And that's it. It's not pretty. It's not great. but it is combined with a common denominator. So, just going to take a little bit of time to go through these and see what happens. So just make sure you get a common denominator for 11.6.